welcome back to my channel, and I'm going to do best characters of 2020. So these are just some of my favorite book characters that I've read about so far. I'm going to be making this video every year in December, and it will change every year. Some of the characters will stay off the list, but some of the characters will stay as my favorite characters. But other characters might be bumped off because new characters will come, and so yeah. So this is just best characters of 2020. I'm going to start from the bottom of the list and go up. Okay. So I have two from this book. Poppy. She was the main character, and she's Max and Allison's daughter. And she's very shy. She's not in the in crowd, and I'm pretty sure she's very insecure. And she has a good heart, and she's very strong, stronger than she realizes. She was able to defeat the witches just like her parents did. And Isabella too. She's very kind. She stood by Poppy. She also listened to she also found out about Poppy's past, about her parents' story with the witches, and she believed her right away, and she helped her throughout. She just started hanging out with Poppy and Travis recently, but with everything that happened with releasing the witches, with everything, she still stood by her and helped her through it, and she didn't run away like she could have. And then I also want to give a shout out to Travis, because he also stood by Poppy throughout everything, and he was a great friend to her. Okay. Next is, okay, there's 3 characters from this book. It's hard to narrow down to one character per book. It is, okay? So don't judge me, because sometimes you have more than one favorite character. So my favorite character in Ever After High, the TV show, is always the Wonderland characters. Lizzie always being number 1, Maddie 2, Kitty 3, and then Bunny and Alistair was 4, but they're not in this book. But Cedar's also in this book a lot. But she's not one of my favorite characters. I don't dislike her. I just, she's just a mad character to me. But the other 3, they're big factors in this book, and I love all 3 of them. They are so amazing, and for different ways, because all 3 of them, they're great friends. They're best friends, but they're very different. Lizzie's the daughter of the Queen of Hearts, and she was always taught that love is a weakness, friends are a weakness. So, and you have to push everyone away. You have to be by yourself. You have to scream and make everyone fear you. But Lizzie realizes that's not what she wants to do. Maddie is the Mad Hatter's daughter, so she's a bit kooky, but she's very kind and has a great heart, and she cares about everyone around her. She's always there to lend a hand. And then Kitty, she is the Cheshire Cat's daughter, so she's very mischievous. She's very sneaky, but she is willing to help her friends. So yeah, I love all 3 characters so much, and I'm so glad this book was surrounded about them, because they are my favorite characters. And I'm so glad I got a little of Lizzie and Daring as well, because they were on here a little bit, which made me happy because I shipped them. They're my favorite couple. And yeah, so 3 of them are just, I love them, and they deserve so much love. I think all 3 of them are underrated. Maddie might not be that underrated, considering she is technically a main character in the TV show, since she's always hanging out around with Raven. Prince and Kitty are definitely underrated. Maddie might still be a little underrated though. So yeah, love all 3 of them. Let's see. Next is Lala from would this thing stop? Lala from Monster High. Draculaura was always my favorite character on the movies Monster High, and this book doesn't have my second or third favorite character, which is a bit upsetting. Twilight and Abby are both not in this book, but they do have my favorite character, and the 4th book is mostly about her, which makes me happy. That's part of the reason why it's my favorite, because I love Draculaura, and she has the biggest heart of anyone, which is mentioned in the movie Why Do Ghouls Fall in Love. They mentioned a few times that she has the biggest heart of any monster, and that's why Valentine wanted to steal her heart, and why Claude wanted to, be with her. So she's just amazing. She's pure, she's kind, she's innocent, she's everything good and pure that in this world, and she's too good for the world. So yeah. Okay, next is Sai from the Monster High Ghoul Friends. He is so kind. He's always there to help these three ghouls. He's always there to lend a hand, and I believe wholeheartedly that they never would have been able to stop Miss Flapper or the people she was working with if it wasn't for Sai's help. And he was always there for them, always ready to lend a hand, no matter how little it was, especially for Rebecca. And yeah, he's my favorite character on here. Well, one of them, my favorite male. My favorite female is Rochelle. I love her. She's a gargoyle, so gargoyles are very safety hazard, or how do I put that? Like, they're very keen on safety matters, and they love rules, and they also are very grammarified, I guess. I don't know how to explain that, but she's my favorite character, and I love her. I also want to give a shout out to Rebecca, because she's so kind and innocent and sweet and good-hearted, and she does have a really big heart, and it's just so amazing, and I love all of them. I do love Venus too, but she doesn't make the list because she does get on my nerves once in a while. So, but I do still like her. Next is who's next on this? Okay, next is Dorothea. When I first read this series, I did not like her, but she grew on me. Same with Kato, and they both made this list. Dorothea, started out as very selfish and a brat, never wanted to own up to her own mistakes, always had to blame everyone else around her, but she grew and became better and finally started realizing that she was partly to blame for this. And I still don't think she was fully blamed, because yes, she made the wish, but she was tricked too. The people seem to forget, but she did start taking her own responsibilities, started being more selfless, was willing to risk everything to save the rules of fairy tale, which is something she never would have done at the beginning. And she started caring about everyone else around her. And then Kato, he started out as this big jerk who you don't think is going to change, but then he becomes sweeter and kinder, and you realize why he was a big jerk at first. He was just under a lot of stress because he might lose his kingdom and his crown if he doesn't act fast, which is still no excuse, but you get to understand him a little bit more. But he became my favorite character. He became so amazing and heroic and sweet, and he always helped Dorothea and Rexy, and he was always there for them. And yeah, so the two of them I do like a lot now, even if I didn't at first. All I'm doing is looking from over here. Okay, next is from the Skinjacker trilogy. Mikey McGill. He started off rough and mean, and don't get me wrong, that never really changes. He always kind of keeps that part of himself as being rough and mean and cold-hearted and standoffish. But when he's around Allie, he is sweet, and he was even sweet a little bit on Nick, who is Allie's best friend, because he knows how much Allie cares about him. So yeah, but he is a good person, and he's very protective of her, and he does a lot to protect her. So yeah. Another one is Allie. She is strong, she is fierce, she is always she's very heroic, she's always ready to go after what she believes in. She's very strong, very passionate, very determined, and has a lot of will. So yeah. She's always willing to march on head first on any call. She can be a bit hot-headed, don't get me wrong. And she has problems with not being right. she always has to be right, which can be a little annoying sometimes, but she's still a great character, and she's very strong, and she's always willing to protect those around her. She's willing to protect Mikey, she's willing to protect Nick and Leaf, and yeah, so... And then there's Nick, who is just a sweetheart. He's kind, he's considerate, he's thoughtful, he's sweet, he's everything. I love him. I love him so much. So yeah. Next is it's really hot here. Okay. Next is okay. Where's the book? I have no idea where I put that book. Oh, here it is. It's right in front of my face. Of course it is. From the Effigy trilogy, there's two characters, Maya Finley. She's the main character. She's the one that follows. She is kind. She can be kind. But she's been through a lot, so she's very depressed. But she's extremely loyal and protective. And she's been through a lot even before the story started. It starts out with her living with her uncle because her parents and twin sister died in a house fire that she survived. And so she's very depressed and kind of mopey at the beginning, but she gets better, and she fights for what she believes in. She goes after Saul and fights him, knowing the risks. And yes, there are times she wants to quit, there are times she wants to give up and just stop being an effigy, but she keeps on going no matter how hard it gets. And then Victoria, which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone because I love her. She's such a sweetheart. She's a cinnamon roll. She's kind and she's loyal. She has panic attacks so often, so there's that representation. Actually, first scene you meet her and she was having a mental breakdown. She was having a panic attack because she's only 17. She's if I remember correctly, she's a teen pop star, and she's only 17. And the entire world looks to her. She's the wind effigy, and she's just so tired of all of this, and it's just a lot to put on a teenager, which can be said for both Victoria and Maya, because Maya is only 15, I believe, at the beginning of this, while Victoria is 17. So Victoria has a lot of breakdowns. She is just ready to give up, more so than not, but she keeps on fighting, and she keeps on believing that life could get better if she just keeps on going. And I love her so much, and I just love her. Let me see. Next is Ziri from Bewitched and Oz. Ziri can get a little annoying sometimes because it seems like she always has to have a crush. She's always worrying about her crush, whoever it is at the time. She's only had 2 crushes, but the second one ends up being the love of her life. But she can be pretty jealous, especially when her and one of her best friends have a crush on the same guy, and then when she gets a crush on his little brother, Brink, she thinks that Vashti is too, so she gets a little jealous and a little hot-headed, and not really hot-headed, that's not the right word, but she gets a little, I don't know what the right word is, but she just starts becoming a little standoffish, I guess you could say, because she's afraid that they're liking the same guy again. But other than that, she's very passionate, very determined. She has this one quote I absolutely love. I won't be able to say it word for word, but basically the meaning of it is how magic is a part of them, and if you take that away, you're taking away who they are. And I just love it. You know, I love how determined she is, how strong-willed, how passionate, how she's willing to fight for what she believes in, no matter what. She goes on this dangerous journey and doesn't even consider it. She's just like, let's go, because we need to save our friend, and we need to keep our powers, and we need to make it illegal again to use magic. So yeah. So I do love her, and she does deserve a lot. And then the other character in this duology should not surprise anyone at all, and that's Brink. Okay, I love Brink. He's amazing. He's kind and he's sweet, and he's so good. You know, he was always willing to help the girls no matter what. He risked everything for them, And even when I mean, it never said for sure. At least I don't think it said for sure. It's been a while since I read this, but I will be rereading this soonish. So yeah. So but so I don't remember if it says for sure, but at least it's my theory that Brink has had a crush on Siri since the beginning of this duology, since the very beginning. But it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't say for sure if he does or not. Or at least I don't remember it saying for sure. But so he's even stood by her, even knowing she had a crush on his big brother, knowing that she kind of brushes him off, and because she sees him as nothing more than Ned's little brother, but he's still there for her and for Vashti and for Tabitha, and he's just so loyal and kind and good and innocent, and I love him so much. Next is Jenny Weasley. She is one of my all-time. She's my favorite female on Harry Potter, and I know that might be an unpopular opinion because most people's favorite character is Hermione. I love Hermione. She's high up on my Harry Potter list. She is, but Jenny surpasses her in my opinion. I just love Jenny. I love how strong she is, how kind, how powerful, how determined, how passionate, how just everything about her I love, and she deserves so much more love and attention, and she's just as great as Jenny or as Hermione, and in my opinion even a little bit better. And yeah, so and the other character on here is Ron Weasley. Duh, he is my favorite male. He is kind, he is sweet, he is strong, he is so much. I mean, a lot of people don't say he's as kind as but he is. I mean, I have a whole list on my phone. I found this post a while ago. I think it was on Facebook, and I still have the picture. And it just dotted all these heroic and kind deeds he did to prove that he is, the king. Because he's amazing. He's everything, and he deserves so much more love than he gets. And yeah, so I love him, and I'm giving him a huge shout out because he deserves everything. Okay, what's next? I have no idea. Okay, next will be Warriors. I'm just going to grab one of these super editions because it's right here. So in this super edition, I don't think either character is even in this super edition. I might be wrong, but because I'm going to say two characters, and I don't think either one of them is in this super edition. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know. But yeah. One of the characters on here is Sandstorm. She's from the first arc. She is good and she is amazing. If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've read it. I didn't like her at first. She seemed mean and abrasive, but as you get to know her, you find out that she's so much more than that. She's strong and she's determined and she's passionate and she really loves Firestar, and she'll do anything for him and for those she cares about. And she is a great character, and I love her. The other character on here who is in the second arc and happens to be one of Leafpool's character I'm talking about. Leafpool, who is one of Sandstorm and Firestar's daughters. She is the kindest soul ever. She is kind, she is caring, she is sweet, she is loyal. She is apprenticed to be a medicine cat, which means she really wants to help people. And she even gives up the love of her life to do it. And she's willing to sacrifice so much just to help her clan, just to help her people, and it's just amazing. Not many people have that strength that she has. And I always talk about how kind and sweet she is, but I don't think I talk nearly enough about how strong she really is, because only the strongest of the strong can do something like that, So she is definitely everything, and yes, I love her. And then, let's see, I think I know who the last one is. Yeah, there's two more characters, both from the same series. Ouch. And not just for myself. Are you really surprised that somehow Seekers manages to find itself on this list? And there's one character on here you should not be surprised about, and that's Kalik. But, and Udrak, because he's my second favorite character. Udrak is smart. He's the one that helps them. If it wasn't for Udrak, they never would have made it half as far as they did. He's the one that finds the signs and the nature to tell them which way to go next. He's the one that knows how to deal with herbs and plants to heal wounds and which ones not to eat because they're bad for you or they're poisonous. And he's extremely intelligent. He's also really sweet, and he's always there for them, even after he dies. Why'd they have to kill him off? But he did die, and even after that, he became a star bear. So he was in the stars with his mother, and he always, whenever they needed him most, he always appeared in their dreams to help give them advice and help them tell them what to do now. Or not really what to do now, but basically tell them that they know what to do now because they are strong without him and they can do this without him. And it's just amazing, and I love you, Jack. And then Kalik, obviously, she's my favorite character on here. She's amazing. She is the perfect mix of being strong and fierce and kind and sweet. And she's also extremely loyal. Well, let's be real, all the bears on here are loyal. That's the whole point of their friendship, you know. But they are all so good and pure and kind, and she helps them so much. She is definitely a motherly figure in the group, kind of like Toko's a fatherly figure. And she is always there for them. She always takes care of Lusa, and so yeah, she's a leader type. She can be hot-headed at times, but not nearly as much as Toko. But she is just so amazing, and I love her. And I can go on and on about how much I love Kalik. So that's all for this video. Please like and subscribe and comment your favorite book characters of 2020. And you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads as Secret Books. And I'll talk to you guys later.